Right, troops, Scotland.
How you doing, mate?
If we can ask you all to mute, please. Then obviously, if I'm talking, or you got a question later on, then just come in. Right, friendship, grade 8. That's why the English love, well, the British, I should say, like their pets. Right, from last week, showed you mine. Mark Day show you this, but so I'm showing you it now. These are rumours, obviously. Another one, Jerry, showing our fruit man, showing you his plums, except he's behind a box. Also,
is that behind the beehive, Mick?
Hey?
Is that behind the beehive?
Yeah, he's got
He's
his
rather
tadger. He's
brave.
got his tadger in a hole.
He's having some honey.
Well, I mentioned the Black Country last week, chain making and working, and this photo come up. I thought I'd put that on. Chain makers, and the majority of them were women. They made the nails as well. Obviously, the chapters down the mines or whatever. Right, someone put this up. Someone else doing the trial. Which more compost? Never heard of this one, but this is their organic alternative, and you can see the crap which they've had out of that one, and that's just out of one bag.
Oh my god.
Shouldn't be allowed. Right, also from last week, my little chap's not blackberries on the colour, so I'll get him some Epsom salts. I usually do this at the beginning next month, all my fruits, trees, all the hounds coming in. Come on up, Russian. Come on up. Good girl. Now sit down there, you tart. Rosie, heel. So I'll give them a pick me up. Also, I've lifted them off the bottom, and there's a decent hole underneath, obviously with a decent brick underneath that. But I've pushed that brick up, and just in case it was congealed underneath, so I've lifted the pots up as well. So hoping that will dry out a bit, but we'll see how it goes. There's also the goji berry, where the colour is supposed to be, so I'll give him a drink. Right, peach tree. They still look very well now. I've sent this lot, all the photos to Jerry. Complained about it to Garden Express. These lot, I think it's Facebook, but they have no phone number at all to their place. Meaning, do they not want to get feedback because they're dishing out crap or what? The only way you can speak to them is get on here. Eventually you can get on there, and that's what I did. Finally got somebody to send to us now. I complained about it. He says I've asked a fruit expert, and he said I've been ripped off. And they said send us back a picture of the bark test to assist you further. So I took that photo, and it's a bit of green. Jerry says it don't matter, it still ain't going to perform how it's supposed to. And the next thing I'll go do now, for them to send out a replacement, or if they ain't got none, to get your money back, you have to send this back in the original box and all this palaver, meaning half the people ain't going to bother. But I'm going to fight the buggers. So that's from last week. Right, finally got 4 tubs onto the lawn. Being brainwashed by the forces, I wanted them in a straight line. But Pet says no, they got away as long as I've got them up there. And the dog don't jump over the wall and smack into that at night. But we'll get in there. Went to the dentist during the week. This is top of Colligate. And right at the top of there, what they got? 3-pin plugs. They got a bloody tall cleaner in there. I'm going to ask them next time.
I love that.
Only in Colligate.
Oh, right, Black Country Living Museum. I had to go there during the week. I forget what day it was. But I went with Darren Rush. He's got our gardening club a couple of talks. I've got him again this year and next year again. Darren's a BBC radio presenter, known as a laughing gardener. He's a good lad. And me and Darren have been asked to do this one Saturday, July the 9th, Wartime Kitchens and Gardens. I'm doing the morning sesh. I think it's for an hour and whatever. Darren's doing the arse end. We're going to dress up like him. I says, have we got Nicola Clobber? I says, bloody hate. So they're going to bring me out. That should be good.
Oh, it will be.
This has changed a hell of a lot. I know my mate Dave, he was down here last year or year. But that's all I can remember from it last time I went. But, the extra stuff they've got there now, this is another street at the top which they've added. They know that was there. And this was where they shot the Peaky Blinders. One of the episodes down there. It's fascinating. And that's a museum itself now, and they're still extending its way as well. There's loads more land there, so they're going either further. First time for moons. I've had some homework. Gosh, they did homework since I was at school, so I've got to read through that and digest. So that's something different. Right, first speaker tonight, Andy Wright from Cheshire. You ready, Andy?
I'm ready, Mick.
Good man, all yours.
Right, bumblebees. I think that's a tree bee come over from France. It's just above my lily of the valley. Okay, next slide, Mick. Lily beetles. We all get them if you've got lilies. Well, I do anyway. Notice the holes already. Okay, next one. Hostas. I've got a few hostas in pots. I find the slugs don't get them the same. That one's been in that pot without being touched for probably 5 or 6 years, still in the same pot. The last one of those was a couple of years, well, last year I think it was, maybe the year before. I gave it to one of my daughters, split it up, made about 5 different plants out of it. You get more, but you got a reasonable sized clump. Okay, next one, Mick. Right, that's one of my Australia's canna lilies. That's in the greenhouse. Now, Colin, I think it was saying that it was a bit far advanced for the time of the year, but you'll notice how the leaves have started to deteriorate since it's come out of the conservatory and gone into the cold greenhouse. It's been in there for about a month now. It's grown a little bit, but the others are coming on. Okay, next one, Mick. Ulstramelias. I find that I bought myself a collection of the Planet series, Ulstramelias, and there's about 5 or 6 different colours, and it took them a while to get going, and now they've got going. They're taking over everywhere. They're a little bit thuggish, but I happen to like them. Okay, next slide, Mick. That one's not meant to be in. But that was from the last time I gave a talk, Mick. That's just one of the orchids on the top there. Well, there's a few orchids there. But the plants underneath I've got insectivorous plants. Help keep the flies down in the conservatory. Okay, next slide. These are the old ones, Mick, that I've done before. That was just a few of the coleus that I've got in the conservatory, that is. You'll notice the Spanish moss hanging up in the background. There's 6 of them, about 1 metre in length. There's 4 water butts in the conservatory. It's got climate controlled glass all round. It's got a sloping floor with a drain in the corner and 4 water butts. So the water temperature is the right temperature. And there's 2 fish tanks in there, both 1 metre long. Okay, next slide, Nick. Right, as I say, this photograph was about, I think I gave you last talk about 4 weeks ago. We're using the same set of slides, Mick. That's the damson, that is. That's damson blossom. Okay, next slide. Yeah, the old ones. That's the insectivorous plants. I find that if you put them there, you get, it helps to get rid of some of the fungus gnats. The gnats that rest on top of your compost. That was my compost heap. All that's gone now. It's all been worked in. You'll notice, well, the tree on the bottom left, that's a green gauge. Directly behind that, on this right-hand side, there's an apple tree. The far left is a pear tree, another pear tree. I've got a Victoria plum behind me and a damson on the other side. Okay, next slide. Yeah, they're old. They're some of the cuttings I've got from the dahlias. I've probably got about 20-30 cuttings now. And what I do, I put them on top of the fish tank because the fish tanks are warm, and that's where I get the bottom heat from. I don't have to pay for any heating mats because I'm already paying for the fish tanks. Okay, next slide. Right, Dicksonia antarctica. I've got 7 tree ferns. They're in 9-inch pots now. I've had them about 3 years. That, in the background, you can see the canna lilies. As I say, that's from 4 weeks ago. They look far better there. The Australius ones are much darker. Since they've been in the greenhouse now, in that month, the top of the leaves just got a little bit chilled, I think, at night. Okay, next slide, Mick. Yeah, that's some of the coleus cuttings. There's 15 to a tray. I've got 75 of them. In the vase on the top there, you've got, it's a herb. And I just put it in water, put it on top of the fish tank. That within a week to 10 days has got roots on. I've got a hydroponic system. I can put them in that with a neoprene collar on in a little net pot. And they go into a system where it just gets fed with nutrients. Okay, next slide. That's a better picture of the cannas. I've got, they're Australius. I've got 5 of those. All that was just one plant, those 4 that you see there, I split them up. And they were in the conservatory. That's not bad for about a month ago. Okay, next slide. Yeah. Them are peppers there in the background. More cuttings. All on top of the fish tank you get, or one of the fish tanks. Okay, next slide, Mick. Yeah, it's possible you go in the wrong way with these, Mick. Are there any others? Because these, I've done these before.
Well, I've got these on.
Oh, okay, there's just the more cannas there. And the Dicksonia antarctica, you've also got a fig in the back. What I've got basically is 4 2-foot square pavers, you know, concrete pavers, making 4 walls. I've got the bottom filled full of rubble, and that's a planting hole to restrict the root so it doesn't get too big for the greenhouse. Brown turkey, that is, a fig. Okay, next one. That's my fruit cage. You can hardly see it now because the growth on that blackberry there. It's the thornless one. That's the rabbit cage on the left-hand side. The box hedge. I've got about 50 odd meters of hedging that I took from one box plant that the mother-in-law let me have. Inside the fruit cage there's blueberries, etc. There's a goji berry at the top, coming out of the top of the fruit cage. Okay, next slide. Just a camellia flower. I've got a couple of camellias in the garden. They always do well. Next slide, Mick. There we are. That's what it's like. It's about 10 foot tall. Probably about 12 foot spread on it, something like that. And in fact, what you can see at the bottom was the top of the plant that the mother-in-law let me out to make all those box cuttings. That's just another camellia flower, and donation, that is. It's a very common one. Fritillaries, snake's head fritillaries, the missus loves them. And you got the daffs in the background, tay-ta-tay. Okay, next one, Mick. That is the Magnolia Soulangii. That was bought when my daughter was born. She's 26 years old now. We bought it because her birthday's April the 20th. It used to flower on her birthday every year. Now it flowers a little bit before. On the left-hand side at the bottom, you've got a bay tree in a lollipop style. That's one of the greenhouses behind it. The other greenhouse is next to that one. Okay, next one. I've got twisted hazel. Corkscrew hazel, that is. That's just the catkins. 5 o'clock this morning, I was outside having my breakfast. And we get the squirrels come to the feeders and where have we? I've got 5 of them that come. We've had the, what is it? The woodpeckers there this morning as well. Okay, next slide, Mick. Those irises are flowering now. The Ulcermelia at the back's flowering, and in the front, on the left-hand side, that lily of the valley, that's flowering its heart out. Again, that's a bit like a thug taking over. I mentioned about a month ago that I don't tidy up the garden straight away, because if you get a late frost, it adds a little bit of protection. So I've tidied it up now, all that's gone. Hopefully the frosts are over and done with. Okay, next slide. That's a picture of the camellias. Probably that one's about 12 foot high. An apple in stone at the front, and you can just about make out at the background there. I've got bamboo. That's all in pots. I've got about 8 of them in pots. I've got 7 citrus fruits as well. They're in pots. They've been outside now for the last must be two and a half weeks. Okay, next slide, Mick. The bird feeders are there as well. Now that must be, that's the more modern one. That's that was taken on Tuesday. That's my other canners. I think the canner in the square tubs are brilliant. The canner in the round tub, that's Musa canner. It grows to between 2.5 to 3 meters high. The Musa is the banana. I've got 5 tubs of that. I've probably got, yeah, I've got loads of tubs of it. Okay, next slide. That's a banana plant that I got. I say this was taken on Tuesday. That's the twisted hazel in the background, the corkscrew hazel. There's the yucca, which is about 14 foot high. Bluebells are still going. The wife likes the hammock, but the problem is you don't get the time to lie on it. She's too busy working. Anyway, next slide, Mick. That's rhododendrons I got as well. That shed in the background's coming out. I'm going to have a seating area there. Have a little bit with a seated swing, a hammock swing, so you can get 4 or 5 people on it, sitting down covered. Okay, next one. Yeah, that's the general picture down there. Picture of the bird feeders there. The twisted hazel, the corkscrew, the yucca plant, and on the right hand side, you've got when my lad went to preschool, he came back with a little seedling in a margarine tub, and that germinated, and it's a maple. So we've got the magnolia when my daughter was born, which is 26 years old. We've got this, which is it's got to be 23 years old because he didn't start preschool straight away. Yeah, the only part of the garden that is not covered is a bit under the yucca. Okay, next slide, Mick. That's it. So what I mean about you can't see the ground. Get the plants in there. It's all growing well. You can see the 2 greenhouses in the background. The fruit cage there, it's 8 foot tall, 8 foot wide, and it's about 18 foot long. And there's, as I say, that was my project when I retired. Give me something to do. I built that. The canes you can see in front there from the French beans, Cobra. That's them. The plant just underneath that is poisonous. It's oh dear, what do we call it? Yeah. Anyway, it's that one's poisonous. Lovely blue flowers on it. There's 3 of those plants in the garden. The forget-me-nots are there. The foxgloves are flowering now. The difference from Tuesday when that was taken to now, the lupins are flowering. There's at least where your cursor is now, Mick. There's at least half a dozen blooms in flower now since Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide. That's me.
Good man. Sorry about that bloody cock up. I'll start doing again.
How big is your garden, Andy?
Sorry?
What?
How big is your garden?
The fence is 100 foot long.
Blimey, that's a big one, isn't it?
On the other side of the on that fence, I've got 10 foot bit that I use. Well, I've got raised, I've got the veg in and raised beds and what have we. They're set north to south with the compass. The idea is you get the same amount of sun morning and afternoon. 17 years ago, could be 18 years ago this year, I decided to grow sweet peas. So I thought I'd do it right. I had 6 different varieties, 237 there was, 3 didn't take. I entered the late national show at Shrubber Hall, got 2 firsts and a second at national level and best fires in my division. But my sister, she was on the way out, she had cancer and she died. And she died in the November, just after her birthday. And I had all the seeds, all the plants, everything ready. And I just couldn't grow sweet peas for a few years. I gave some sweet peas and I put trellis up for my youngest daughter. I've got 4 daughters and a son. And in fact, she phoned me this morning, the sweet peas are in bloom now. I sowed them about the 10th, just after the first week in October. And you grow them hard in a cool greenhouse or in a cold frame. And they're quite tough, you know. If you mollycoddle them too much, they get too leggy. If they get nipped with the frost, it's the same as us pinching them out and they get bushy. So with sweet peas, they'll tell you to pinch out the growing tip, because that one shoot that goes up at first is all spindly. You pinch it out and you get side shoots. I used to grow them on the cordon system. They get up these 8-foot canes, and they get to about 6 foot, and I'd lay them, put them down on the ground, they grow up again. So at the end of the season, they're probably something like 16 foot in length. But the stems, probably an inch or so across. It's a labour of love. And as I say, I got national level, I got 2 firsts and a second, best fires in my division. And the stems are probably 18 inches long on each stem. And you get right-handed flowers, left-handed flowers, depends where the bottom floret is. And when you set your vase up, you get them accordingly. You get, 3, 5 and 7. And that's your 15 flowers. And you'll get a depth of something like 18 inches, a fan shape, about 18 inches across. And actual flowers will be not far off the same. Anyway,
I'll use that later on then, Andy.
That's
Sweet peas.
That's sweet peas.
Yeah. Any more questions for Andy? Good man. Cheers, Andy.
Okay.
Cheers, mate. Right, wormery, if anybody does them, or your compost bin. Don't forget, with me, whatever manure you put in, that's where originally I'll get my worms. So if you don't add any manure with worms in, and you don't get enough, that's where I've started getting my extras now, with the warmth in between the 2 layers. You can always go and buy some from a fishing tackle shop. £3.50 a tub. Might have gone up now to about £4, but just bung them in and they'll get going. I noticed this during the week, obviously Australia, and this was just balls of worms. Something I've never seen before while walking the dog by the creek. I noticed all these flicky red wranglers. On closer inspection, there was a cluster of worms. Has you bloody seen them? Perfect if you've got a bloody compost bin. Not very good if you have the worm underneath. We'll come back onto that later on. Worms and mortar. Right, compost teas. I'm late doing mine this year. But got everything ready. Nice tub. Similar sized tub. Probably 4 or 5 gallon. Same as what I'm brewing my wine in. Air stone, air pump, plug. Tap water, no good. You got to use rainwater. If you use tap water, let it stand for 48 hours and put the air stone in it, get rid of all the crap. But rainwater's better. So I'm filling my tub up, or not filling it, but I'm just putting a couple of gallons in. 2 gallons of water I'm using. The hound's nicking a drink. Right, my own compost. That's what I'm using. Took all the worms out, and your kickstart is your molasses, unsulfured. The best ones to get. You get this off Amazon. Just ask Colin, he'll get it delivered for you. But this is a good one, plantation. This is your kickstart. This is what gets the brewing going. It's basically it's what the women use. Some women use for cooking as well. So I've got my pump going, plugged in, and you can see basically it's just oxygen. So what I do, pick all the worms out, bung them back in the bin, and all I want is 1 litre of compost, because I'm doing the garden, not the full allotment. There's my mushing that was drying up, that's dried up now, that's what I'm using. A leg out of a pair of tights, because I want to use it as a foliar feed as well as a drink feed. I don't know lumps, I don't want it blocking up my nozzle. That's why it's in like a tea bag. So I just bung that over there, up in the tub, and that goes down the bottom. And then I just pull that up and down, and this gets weighted down to the bottom. If I used to put a knot in it, but I can never undo the knot. The knot gets wet. So now I just put a bit of string tied in 1 knot, and that'll come undone easily at the end of the day. 1 teaspoon of molasses. This is thick, so if that is thick, well, it will be thick, but if it's too thick to come out, just put that in a jug of warm water until it supples up a bit, and then bung that in. Yeah, as you can see, as it's ferreting away, and then just wash the spoon in there, get all the molasses off. You don't want to waste none. So then I bung my compost in, and it just flow to the top. You can some people just use worm casts if their compost ain't very good, or both. The worm cast extra with your compost, but it's trial and error. There's different things brews you can make, but that is left in there for 24 hours. Lid goes on, not tight. This is just keeping any surface crap that's flying about, and that's done for 24 hours. Brewing. While that's brewing, we've got our second speaker, Dennis Barry from South Wales. You with us, Dennis?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. All yours.
Yeah, I'm growing some chrysanthemums this year. Well, I grew them last year, but I made a hell of a mess of them last year. So I'm growing everything on a first stop. Last year I did it on a second stop, and the damn things were about 7 foot high. Couldn't reach them. So I'm growing probably around 40 of these. And I'm also growing 30 medium japs, which are not on the film. They were so small then when this was taken. And it's all really for the local show to try and boost the entries for the local one rather than worry about the national. So later on, if I do get any flowers on them, I should take some photographs and then send them on to you, Mick.
Bro.
Right, I bought these off bloke. I think his name is Derek Armstrong. I think they're Betty Blacks they are. In the beginning I couldn't get them to grow at all, and they're not great now, but what I thought, I'd put them in and see if they can move along in the bed and get some pips off them next year and try to do a better job. The beans on the left, my stock of Stena was infiltrated with all sorts of stuff, I think. So I bought some seed off Sherry Plum, and these now are they're up the top of the sticks now, and they're in flower. basically to try and keep the true seed. That's why they're in early. So we'll see what happens. There's only about 10 seeds altogether, or 10 plants altogether rather. And if we go to the next bit, then no, these I'm a bit worried about these altogether because these are supposed to be Peter Holden's strain, and slow is an understatement. They're not bulbing. I don't know what the hell is happening with them. I may get a set for the show. They're only for the local show anyway. I may get a set out of them later on, but right now I'm not very hopeful. We just have to wait and see. And on the far side, then the next slide over, Mick is shallots. Then on the opposite side, I think you probably, if you drop back a slide to the centre, you see the shallots on the left hand side of the tunnel. They're up the whole bed there. They're not doing too bad. I'm quite happy with them. They're okay. But these, I'm a bit worried about these. You never know, they might come. These are Tef Ball, hopefully for the show. And I think there's about 40 there altogether. And I'm hoping to get some I'm going to finish them in those pots as well. That's where they're going to end up. They're not going out in the bed or anything, they'll be in there all the time. And I'll finish them up in there. I've done it before and it does work.
What size pots are they, Dennis?
And
What size pots are they?
that's 3 litre there.
3 litre.
Yeah. I grew them in 2 litre last year and they did work. I did get a couple of sets out of them. So I've gone up a size this year and hopefully I will get them. They're quite tall at the moment now. They're probably about 2'6", I would think.
Yeah, they're
Well, the canes are 30 inches. So
looking very good.
I'm happy with these, to be honest with you, because I've managed to keep the stems, which is the most important bit, is to keep the barrel straight upright in the pots. And if one bends over, I'll put an extra stick in, and I'll put a clip around it to just drag it into the centre again, and then it goes away again, then straight. So hopefully,
Dennis, how do you water them?
I water them over the top with I've got a spray gun on it, and I can reduce the pressure on it.
Okay.
And it goes over the top. And the person that told me that was Ron McFarlane. He's already passed on now. May he rest in peace. And he said, always don't worry about watering over the top. Just water him. And he's won the national quite a few times. So he actually is his method I'm using, to be honest. But not everybody grows exactly the same as I mean, he would have ended up probably doing a lot different to me. And I just got to pick up the right thing to actually try and get a decent set.
I think it's
hopefully for Morven, but who knows? I don't know.
I think it's fine watering from the top. I think the difference between onions being outside and being inside, if you've watered from the top and you've got high humidity in the greenhouse or growing area with no airflow, that's when you start to get your mode. But apart from that, it's fine. They're hardy plants.
Yeah. Time will tell. Yeah. These are obviously I think it's Evening Star. I've got 2 sowings of these. These ones now I've potted on it about a foot, 15 inches tall, and I've actually potted them on today in 3 litre pots they are, because they won't go out till, I think there's enough compost in there now for the roots to take hold by about the end of the first week in June, and that's when they'll go out. I've only got 12, I think, altogether. But the second batch is, I think I've got 9. So we'll see what happens. I've discarded 1 or 2 today as well, because when you look at the base of the plant, if there's a slight bend in it, it'll never ever come straight. And it was Jim Thompson's quite a good grower of celery, and he said just discard them and just pot all the ones that are straight. So I took his advice, and that's what I've done. Hopefully there'll be in more of them, or maybe I get a set for Wrexham for the Welsh Brand show. It just depends. We just hope, because we don't know for sure, do we?
Yeah.
Why do you plant?
Sorry?
Why do you plant out so late? It seems late to me, that does. So
Did you say when am I going to plant them out?
No, I said, why do you plant them out so late? Why do you wait till June?
Well,
it's not necessary.
I could plant them out now because I planted all the dahlias out. I don't think we're going to get another frost, but I've known frosts where I'm living on the 3rd or 4th of June.
Oh, right. Okay.
See? And now I potted them on. I can't really move them again now for about 3 weeks
I see. Yeah.
because of the fact I'll just if I take them out of the pots now, I'll disturb all the roots. So I let them take hold of that compost before they go out in the first week of June.
Got you. Yeah.
That's basically it, really. The second lot coming behind, they'll go out the same time, but they'll be in smaller pots. They will, because obviously they're not going to. They're still in the. I'm not sure. They're about 2 litre, I suppose, or 1.5 to 2 litres, something like that. Yeah. These are actually in my house. These are Shirley going in. I think there's another slide with these as well, Mick, which are quite taller now. I've actually got tomatoes on them at the moment.
Good.
Yeah. It'll come if you put the other one on later on. I can pick it up then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go on to the next one. I've only got, I think it's about 9 leeks altogether, and I've got some well sealing in pots, which I had very late, but they're going to be for stock for next year more than for showing. There again, I put the leeks out that are actually pretty straight, where near the root plate, because if you get a bend right down very low, it's very, very difficult to get a bend out. You can get a bend out, up the plant, but not right down on the root plate. It's very difficult to do. So this is a while back now, because these beans here, they're out as well. I put those out last week. Yeah. That's the same 6 plants now as you showed earlier on. And on the right hand side, they're a lot later sowing. They'd only probably up about 15 inches, I suppose. 12, 15 inches. It'd be just a later crop.
Denise, is that 2 ground bags?
I did buy some Macy seeds, but out of the whole packet, I had 1 come up. And you'll see them in a minute now when he goes on to the next.
Just a question about them, Dennis.
Later slide.
Have you got 2 ground bags on top of each other there?
Sorry?
2 ground bags on top of each other?
No, it's only 1. What it is, it's just a slightly raised bed. And what I do, I put manure on there first, and then the grow bag on top of that with holes cut in the plastic. No,
Okay.
it's only one, Nigel. Oh, by the way, thanks for the review on that Vitapod as well. It's brilliant.
All right.
I ended up buying 2 after.
I've got 4.
No, 2 was enough. Yeah. So I've actually got tomatoes on those at the moment, so it's coming in okay. These are just for eating. They're not for show at all. These, and they just I bought some Caraflex cabbage seeds from Shelley's, and he reckons they're the one that's replaced Hispy, because Hispy's off the market altogether now. So there's only half a dozen there to try, and we'll see what happens. I do like a cabbage, and I think the next slide over is about 4 collies, and in that tray then there's broccoli, which I haven't planted out yet, they were quite small at the time. These are all growing on nice now. But these are not for show either. These are just for eating. And these are then my, I think I got 19 bags of Kestra. And that again is for the local show. Maybe if I'm very lucky to get a set for Malvern, but or the Welsh branch one, I don't know. It all depends really. And these are the ones, the plants that you saw on top of the leeks. They're the ones I put out now last week. I did have a bit of cover around the front of them to stop the wind getting at them, and there was some on this side as well, but I've taken them down now. Well, it's all down now anyway, and the rain's at them, so they are moving up the plant, so I'm quite happy with that, with them. But these they were Stenner as well, from Cherry Plum. These are all my dahlias. I'm growing 6 varieties. I think I have planted them out. I think there's 60 altogether. I'm growing around about 10 of each. Again, it's only for the local show. I'm not going anywhere else with them. If I can get them, if I can get a couple of vases, I'll put them in. And these are the ones I asked you to put in last Mick. This first one was the only one that seeded out of the packet, and the others, if it wasn't for Chris Evans, I wouldn't have had those, because he sent me some in the post. So I thank him for that, because I wouldn't have had any.
Harry, I had a load of maisie, and not one of them germinated.
It's absolutely shocking. It is. I didn't actually. I should have complained really, but I didn't after. But John Salisbury was on a YouTube video with it, and he was saying exactly the same. He bought some maisie seeds, and germination is very, very poor there. And yet, the other 5 only got 6 of those. The other 5 were they're not they're obviously an F2 now. That is, if the maisie's F1 and you take seed off those tomatoes, then the second lot becomes an F2, doesn't it?
I think they harvest them too early.
Yeah. So I'll just see how they go. If they're no good, well, I won't bother. But although it's handy to take some seed off it, just to see how they go. I'm not sure if there's any. There's a lot of talk about civil servants, and you can see there. This is a bit of a joke, by the way, but you can see all the civil servants in the background, and only one guy working, and that looks like pretty much what all the councils are doing at the moment.
Like it.
Here we are.
Cheers, Dennis.
All right, Mick.
Good man. Anybody got any questions for Dennis while we got all done in? He'll give us another update later on.
The maisie seeds, are you getting them all? Is everybody getting them from the same supplier?
Well, I got them from Medwin.
And
all the ones that have failed have come from Medwin, by the look of it.
All the ones that I got were from Chris Evans.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Well, mine germinated, so happy days.
Weird, isn't it?
I'm a stickler for complaining. I don't like to have a packet of seed that doesn't germinate, and I've sent off. I had some what they call Nigel, the long shallots that Zabroon, is it? I've tried 3 times now to germinate, and I just haven't had any success at all. And I know other people have had problems with those as well. So
my third lot germinated.
But was it from the same packet?
From the same company. I don't think it was the same packet now.
Right.
That was
So you tried 3 packets, did you?
I tried Browns, which failed. I think it was, might have been Marshalls, and then I went back to Browns, and the Browns one took.
What you got to remember is all these seed companies, they buy them from the same suppliers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must do.
I reckon it's a bad batch what was sent in.
Yeah. I got mine from Browns, and I'm waiting for compensation.
Maisie tomato seeds, they plum or a standard one?
Is that
What,
too
Paul?
cold, Dennis?
Yes, me. I'm just asking what variety, and I don't never heard of them.
Mate,
They're plum or a standard size tomato?
The standard show variety, really.
Standard. Cheers, Nick. Yeah, currently doing well, Nick.
named after Charlie Macy, I would presume, who was I don't know if he's still alive, but he was.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Nobody could beat him in years ago, could they? Yeah.
Oh, that was Gold Star, though, wasn't it?
That was, yes, yeah.
Well, I think they've named the Macy one after him, but it's the same strain, and they just renamed it Macy.
All right, yeah.
Doing 3 varieties this year: Crimson Crush, Akron, and Tumbling Tom and Figaro. Figaro, like a orange plum. So I'm trying them. Akron doing well.
That's
And
right. That's right.
all right for them. Crimson Crush doing well as well.
Okay then, Dennis. Thank you for your input,
I
sir.
know, so mate.
Cheers,
Pleasure, mate.
Thank you,
Good man.
Dennis.
Cheers, mate.
Right, looking at me peppers in the greenhouse. Look at this cheeky first. Where the hell's he come from?
They're eating dinner.
Yeah, he bloody flew in. Right, still trial and erroring. 2 spare runner beans. Get them out, separate them. One in clover compost, one in my compost. These are for the mate down the road. But shall hang on to them for a couple of weeks, just see how they do. Because I was both about the same size, got the same leaves on. Just another trial. Bougainvillea. This is putting a nice bit of colour on now, giving a good soaking about every 3 days. If the weather's nice and there ain't much wind, then he goes outside. Don't forget, a pot is a raised bed, meaning he's dropped down as well. But with something like that, because it is a small raised bed, you can lift him out with a large raised bed as well. The only way you can top dress, well, that's what you have to do. But with something like this, you can just lift him out, put so much in the bottom, and that'll lift him ground level, which is perfect. So that's what we're doing with this chap. That's what I'm doing with him. There's also doing it with me elderberry nut. You see how he dropped down there. So he just comes straight out. He hadn't got any paper under the bottom, so I've cut some sliced ready. So there's some of me compost mixed with topsoil. Once all the lumps got out, bit of vermiculite, and that brew's going in the top of them. Needed some more topsoil for the top dressing in my raised bed, top of the garden, so I went up weeks again. And then I got 5 bags for 15 quid. Right, so I picked my chap out, my Justaberry, put my brew in the bottom. Exactly the same as I made there. Bit of my compost. Tried him again, got the right enough amount in for him to go in. And then I'll wedge some compost around the outside as well. And then top dress it with rabbit muck. He's now come level top of the pot, which is what I want. Right, tough ball onions. These need sorting out. 8-ounce onions. They need tendering too. In the sense that I've still got my wires on, you can just make them out there. But I need to take all them wires off and put another clip on the top of them. So there's one wire is missed already, but that longer wire out of the two is still holding them up. So them two will now come off and put another clip on the top. Just keep him nice and straight, as Dennis has mentioned before. You want them plants standing right up. And this is just to show you, because that checked a couple of times a week anyway. There's one grown on the outside, so he's put an inch and a half in just since I checked him a couple of days earlier. Now the weather's warming up and everything's starting to move, which is what we want. So he just put inside, helping the plant out. Once I've got all these out, my long ones, I used to put them in both in one end, but then I thought if I put long ones that end and the short ones this end, then whatever I need, I just pull them out that way. And perfect. Then we'll go back in the garage, in the shed, top of the garden. So all these are done now. They've got two clips on there. They're more nice and straight. If they do need straightening up, they're slightly going over. They're not, so I should just persuade them with two hands either side of the plant. But they ain't too bad at all. Right, let's get on to me little chap. There we go. Right, let's get going. Oh. Elsie away one for a couple of weeks. Well done, Else. There's a good area. Nigel, our third inputter.
Hello.
All yours, Nigel.
Right, last weekend was the Malvern Spring Flower Festival, run from Thursday to Sunday. This is the normal RHS greeting that you get, full of flowers, but for this year, it was done with like a, I think they call them hibernaculum, them to encourage insects and stuff like that. And it was quite nice, that was. And so that was near the entrance. Next, these are just some flowers I took in the floral marquee, and this one here, the Dow Jones, there's quite a few I took from here. It's the company's pheasant acre plants, and they won the RHS Master Grower Award, and they've got a fantastic display on it. Next. And there's some more. It's hard to believe that something like that's a tulip. It's beautiful flowers.
Walker he is. Was they pheasant acre as well?
Yeah. So they won the Master Grower Award. They got a big trophy like it. Was a fantastic display. Amazing. Next one. Now this one was the company Chrysanthemums Direct, and they got a lovely display on again. I mean, I never grow chrysanthemums, but this like caught me eye, the colour combination and the flowers is really nice. Next one. That's one for you, Mick, the Alströmera. It's lovely colours on there. Nice.
Lovely.
And again, I like lilies, and I'm a sucker for the different colours. So I don't know what company these was, but I just took about 3 or 4 which caught me eye, and that's a nice one.
Whoa, that's nice.
On the next one, it's a stand of the cacti succulents, and they got some lovely plants in again. On the next one. Fantastic condition. At the spring shows, there's very few what I call ancillary garden stands, particularly the seeds. Usually you find them in the autumn, but this year, unusual, DT Brown was there and was doing the usual sale of £1 a packet. That's on the next one, me. I think. Yeah. So all the seeds there was £1 a packet. And it was quite busy. I think I got about 20 packets. But more like 2024 dated and all. So. Next one. Now, I sent Mick this picture. This is a company called Petrichor, and they've got a good selection of gladioli. And I had a chat with the guy on the stand later because I thought all them imports, Dutch and that, but what it is, there's a company in Alderley Edge in Cheshire called Heathgate Nurseries, who they actually import the bulbs to, so you can order them through this Heathgate Nursery, so you ain't got all this problem of getting them through EU customs and that.
What's the name of that nursery again?
It's Heathgate. I'll put the link in the chat.
Heathgate.
The bulb specialist it is.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat after I've done it all.
Good man.
And so you can actually buy the stuff through them. And
yeah.
We've got a good selection of glads.
Good to know.
Next one, Mick, I think, is just a few tulips that I've spotted in line.
A nice chap and all.
And I like all the feather edges on them. Beautiful.
Yeah. Ruffled all.
Now, part of the show gardens, they have a section for the school kids, and the instruction was to do a garden which takes the inspiration of the Queen's 70 years service to the nation. And this one I particularly like. There is lying underneath fixing the land wrap.
That's wicked, man. The corgi.
Yeah,
that's good. That is.
I'd used to drive, Anna, when he was in the army.
Yeah, Land Rover.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Boston, man.
Like it. Is that one winged, you know?
Well, I don't know. I didn't see the results on them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This was a display put on by the National Allotment Society, and there's about 4 of them tried to wrap you in.
Look at the lettuce.
Got some nice stuff on there,
yeah.
How do you get lettuce that bloody size this time of year?
Grow them in pots and then bury the pots in there.
Yeah, probably grow them in pots somewhere, eh?
Yeah. Definitely.
Next one. Right, here's some of the show gardens now. This one here was called the Vitamin G Garden, and it is inspired by the research that was done to provide how beneficial gardening is for you, like mentally, physically, and social well-being and that sort of stuff. And look from above, it's an interconnecting circles. Talking to the guy, I mean, you can't see from down below, but it's supposed to represent the molecules of vitamin G, or whatever shape that is. But it looked quite nice and nice and tidy. We've got about 4 of them. That's it. Yeah.
What?
That on the left supposed to be a plum, but I had a look in there. It looked too healthy, so I wouldn't have got it there.
David, I have noise.
No,
have a dip. Have a dip. I bet Mick could have a dip.
Yeah. He got his what's it on his mankini.
Mankini, have a dip.
But no, it was nice and tidy, and nice contrast in colours. It was pretty good.
Does look nice.
Yeah. Now this one garden was called A Peaceful Escape, and the bloke had designed it because he was fed up of working from home and he wanted somewhere just to escape, so he built this out. And it, like he said, it went outside, and this is how the feeling he wanted, just to wipe all the pressures of work away, even though I'm still in your house. And it was
nice,
lovely colour. It got a little bubbling stream and some nice lighting underneath. Imagine that looked lovely at night. It would.
Nice. Oh, that's nice.
Very nice. This one here, they called the Longford Press. It was the bloke who, well, the designer who did this, lived in a local village where they had an apple pressing day. So if you grew your apples, you can take them to them, and what they'll do, they'll put them through the press, and you can get your juices to do your ciders and that. And it was I think it was around the other side, to the left, there was a big press, and where that window is, there was a store there with all racks with all apples, and it's quite good, it was. Yeah, that's looking around the other side. There's the store with the apples, isn't it?
There's a press.
Yeah.
I like the bike.
That's mix.
Yeah. This garden was the cancer research, and quite a lot of the plants in there, the chemicals from the plants had been tested for anti-cancer properties. But again, it was a nice mixture of stainless steel and colourful plants. Very
Cool.
neat. Next one, that's a similar one again. This one here was called the Hyde Garden, and it was built to attract nature. Them doors, the double doors there opened up, but there's like a bubbling stream going through, and you got all the insect plants along the back. Quite
Love
nice.
the seating, Nigel.
It was very nice, yeah. Wouldn't lie though. It's the same again, yeah. This one out here was it's called, oh no, that's still another one. Was it I think that's still another one of the kids' gardens, that is.
Oh,
Where they celebrating the Queen, yeah, called Buckingham Palace.
like it.
With them.
Right. Now this is I think there's about 3 or 4 gardens there, which was to build a garden on a budget of a maximum of £500, and that's the sort of plants they'd used, like quite nice, like cottage garden style. That's another one. I think there's about 3 altogether. The old galvanised water tank and the something to hide the dustbin.
Good idea using a drawing as well, the backdrop.
Yeah.
Cheaper. Less bloody hassle in it.
Yeah. Now this one here was my favourite. It's called Welcome to the Jungle, and it was 2 biodomes. If you imagine the Eden projects, them big like golf balls ago, it was that, only on a much smaller scale. 2 of them joined by a polythene tunnel, and you went in one, and it was though you was walking through the Amazon jungle. It was all misty, all tropical plants. There was animal noises going through, and as you walk through the dome into the next one. You come into this like the Caribbean tropical resort, and there was doing.
Oh man!
And it was fantastic. It was.
Get me a rum and coke. Rum and coke.
It's
I'll
my
be
favourite one.
sit in that chair there.
It's really good. They got Bob Marley going on in the background and everything.
Boston, man.
Yeah, I'm rubbing it in now.
And there's the jungle part. So
Wow.
the croc's head to the right of the pool, you can just about see it. It's floating along. It wasn't. And so you got all the cheetahs and monkeys and all that screeching and that. It's really good. Very, very humid in there as well. I mean, you can't see the mist much in there, but when it blasted out, it like covered in big, thick fog.
Them lilies down the corner, Nigel.
Go back a bit, won't we?
Lilies there, the far corner.
Yeah, them
Xanthians, or what they're called.
Xanthidicias.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We've got them in the garden. They're cracking there.
Lovely they are. And that's the beach party again.
That the wife down the corner having a drink.
No, I don't know who that woman was.
Yeah, we interrupted her.
He's having a coffee by the look of it.
Yeah.
But no, it's a cracking garden, that was.
Nice.
And what we got next? This one here was called Abigail's Footsteps. It's quite an emotional garden, this is, because it's Abigail's Footsteps. I didn't know what it was. Speaking to the people who understand it, it's a baby loss charity. It provides support and that and counselling to people who've lost children, and also does bereavement training for midwives. But it's lovely. I mean, that's really peaceful garden.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So good.
And that's one I got up the other morning, probably about 5:30. The sun had just come through, and my alliums had started to open, and just sun shaft of sunlight caught it. So I got loud of alliums coming out in the garden, and that's it.
Austin, nice.
Cheers, Nigel.
Cheers, no.
Great, man.
Anybody got any questions for him? You must have covered everything, Nigel.
Is it coming back to Gladiola? Is it time to start bunging them in, or am I late, or what?
No.
I start next week.
Sorry?
I start next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
For the first batch?
There's quite a few people started already. Don't forget, they want them for the summer. I need them for our show. I start next week, then I stagger.
Every week.
I only want mine for ornamental, but I want to stagger them so that I can extend.
I've just put the link in the chat for that petrichor out of the glads.
Lovely. Cheers, Nigel.
Nigel, they just do glads or do anything else?
They do other things, but
Yeah.
I was attracted by the glads because listening to what Nigel Coward said, how harder than to get now with the companies going under. These have got a massive collection.
Yeah. It's paying to get them from abroad as well.
Yeah.
With passports and all this crap.
So you can get these through the Heathgate nurseries.
Yeah.
It's all the edge.
Heathgate nurseries. Let's have a look at that.
Heathgate nurseries all the edge. But go on
Let's
to
have a
that
look at
website, it'll tell you.
Heathgate.
Yeah.
Cheers, Nigel.
Lovely. Cheers, Nigel. Good man. Right, my new raised bed. You can see how it's dropped. That ain't no good for stuff I'm putting out. It needs topping up. So, first thing I'm going to do. Right, tulips are finished. Well, majority have anyway, but they're going to come out. So I'm collecting all the crab. Collecting the straw, obviously I'm going to use that again. Got all the tulips up. These will be put around the back. Finished drying off as they are there under cover. There's good air movement in there, so it'll dry off nice. And there's my straw that I've collected as well. That will be used again. So the only three things that are staying in are them. Well, I've took that weed suppressor off. So this is what's germinated underneath. Obviously these were the seeds that were in there. So I've just loosened, only go down about an inch and a half, and then just pull them out, finger and thumb, and they go in there. And that's what I want to see. Because there's been no disturbance whatsoever. The own mycelium start to go away. Right, most of the stuff out and ready. So them weeds are going in the bin. I've never put, when I was down the plot, I never put weeds in the compost bin. Because there was weeds down there, because there's so many people growing different stuff. We could have weeds with the spores of rust on, and that's so much you don't want in the compost, any disease, anything like that. That's why I never put weeds in. But I've got enough ingredients anyway, but because I know these are clean weeds, if that makes sense, them going in the bin. No worms in the lid. That tells me they're all happy, they're staying in there. Those in the lid, they're trying to get out. 2 bits of carpet, take them out. got activity, which we can see, which is what I want. Spread them weeds about. It is nice and moist, put them back on. Well, all my bags, all my brews, that's what I've been bagging up, ready to use as a top dressing. Them lot are bought out, and don't forget it's all mixed, and that's spread over. Leveled out. Surprising how much this takes. That's still ain't enough. So I'm going to do some more. Right, the hound last week finished night class. I can now speak fluent Spanish. There's a look at a little thing. And there it is. He was a handful. But after a week, he did calm down a bit. These classes are worth it. But I enjoyed it. And when you run the class, they've asked Rosie if you'd be an ambassador. And it says, explain yourself, and basically it works with dogs that have been abused and whatever. And it's just to calm the dogs, because Rosie will get on with anybody. And I says, oh, just give me the small print and let me know when you want us. So I'm helping them out as well. Right, my brew's been going for 24 hours. As you can see, this good stuff here around the side of the bin. That's scraped off and put back inside there. Right, so I've disconnected the air pump. Obviously there's no bubbles coming up now. So for 24 hours, basically my bag, go back on that one, which has got my composting, the oxygen obviously keeps stuff alive. The molasses we put in there kickstarts my compost into brewing again, i.e. the bacteria, good bacteria to start living, growing, because the oxygen keeps it alive, and that's what gives you your feed. You've got good compost anyway, which you can use, but get more out of it by making compost tea. So that's 24 hours of oxygen. This is the best feed you can get. So obviously I'm going to drain him. Then I'm going to empty him, and I ain't going to waste that lot. He's going to put, it might be a bit too strong, but I've just put it on one row, my 8 ounce on him. If it is too strong from him and it kills him, then that's another trial that don't work. But I've still got another 3 rows at the back there. But we'll see how they go. So my brew now, this is 1 litre to 9 gallon. So from now on, instead of doing 2 gallon, I'll just do 1 gallon, because there's only the back garden which I'm doing. I mean, I'm drench feeding and foliar feeding everything. This is fruit, flowers, veg, really lot. But 2 gallon was too much. So all I'm doing is 100 ml of my compost brew to a gallon of water. And when you drench feed, you cover the stuff from the top of the plant itself, and that puts a coat on the plant. And after the second compost tea drenching, it covers the plant. And this is what they're doing in the States. They've been doing it for a while. And it protects the leaves, and then they'll stop using insecticides. And then it drenches the plant itself, the roots, and they'll stop using fertilizers. That's all they use, pre-compost teas through the growing period. Then I clean everything out, ready for the using it again. Right, back to me wine. This was a potato gin. It's had its daily stirs and needs demi-jarring. So obviously I've got to take the lumps out again. So there's 2 pieces there. Don't forget, all the big lumps have been taken out, but there's still the dregs. But the more you can take out, the better. The clearer the wine will be in the long run. Once they were done, he then transferred into the demi-jar. And he's bubbling away already. There's a bubble. got caught screwing up, which is what I want. So he gets his label on him and gets thrown up top. That one is now stopped fluffing away, so I'll take that off and put it on this one, just in case this one goes loop. I don't want him going overflowing, as we've done there. While I was in there, I saw this other one, banana and parsnip. He was nice and clear, and it was check May anyway, so it's turned out well. I did have a look on the calendar, and it was next week I was going to chicken, but while I was there, he's clear, so we'll do him later on. My next one after this lot will be spiced banana. I ain't done him for a while, and this was a good one as well. If they get a fuss, then I start them, but I ain't done that one for a while. Right, BBC gone as well live. I'm talking on behalf of the National Allotment Society, and Friday I've picked 11 o'clock in the morning, got an hour, and then again on the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I did want to put on composting, compost teas, raised beds, no decultivation, but they wouldn't put it on because it would have upset him, because he's doing compost teas. She's doing no dig, and if you notice me mate Dan and Rudd, he's doing the 2 talks on the Sunday. He's like Osmup and all, he's everywhere. But looking forward to that one. So if anybody's going on the Friday, and I'm free 11 or 2, I will have a nose. Sweet peas, these were self-setters from last year. I had to tie them up, obviously look after the chaps, and I've just started reaching the top wire now, and just make out my wire across there, and these will be going along there as well. I mean, they do hang on the cells like rudder beans, the little tendrils that come off because of the weight of them. You've got to help them out as well. I don't want them snapping. So what's these freesias? They've all started folding over the way to the leaves. I did plant the depth it said on the packet. If I knew this would happen, I'd have planted it and planted them an inch deeper to help them out, stand up easier. But all I'm going to do is put a couple of canes in either side and just help them out anyway. But them are going in the raised bed as well.
Are you putting no onion clips on them, Rick?
On these? On each one? Pain in the arse. This is holding them up, just 2 canes in, bit of string. But them 2 that I send them are for the Bring and Buy tube, Garden Club. But these will be going in the raised bed. I could put clips on them if I got the time. Alright, spent coffee grounds. This is nice and dry because it's on the cover, and every time I go past I turn it, so all the any moist stuff at the bottom is dried out as well. Doing another 3 bags, that's ready for my next 3 tours. So there's one going down tomorrow, the other one Wednesday I think it is. Right, me everlasting kale. Keith Owen gave me this plant. That time we chopped some off for our first meal. Our Ben come home, had a couple of days with us, sorted all my gunfire, which I couldn't do. I stuff on the internet. So I got me Lynn went out with a mate and they have the radio so that they go out for a meal while I was out. So me and Ben had 3 lamb chopsy, onion gravy. He likes his mashed tater and veg, obviously. He likes his rub, so do I. Keith, you're my good one. And there's our kid, he's got on again, look, Peter Bolton, Starbridge. He sends his photo up. There's our weatherman, Central News. It's been in about 6 times now. I just had to bung a photo on. I'll send him a photo of my plums. Excuse me, is this serious?
They won't get posted, I tell you.
Right, my raised bed, top of the garden needs drop mooring. So I've got extra soil, so I'm just rubbing these lumps out by hand, taking all the rubbish out, and then I'm filling these up again. Mixed with a bit of spent tops. Shredded dried seaweed. Scott, you're a good lad. Chopped straw. This was Westland's compost. Gotta use it up. Spent mushroom compost. Worm casts. Little compost. Dried goat muck rubbed out by hand. You can see the lumps. So I'm rubbing it at them by just getting it in with 2 palms and just rubbing it so it's smaller pieces. What's the next one? That's the clover, but peat free, which was crap. You can see the lumps I'm taking out of there. And my wood chip, obviously with the lumps taken out. Because with a small bits of wood chip, because there's moisture on it, there's my mycelium as well. And we'll cover that more next week. That is nature getting going. So with the lumps taken out, that lot is thrown in there as well. And these lots are mixed up. So these are large bags. These are 100 litre mid-life bags. So that's the ideal bag for mixing everything up. And them daubs have gone out. They're spread out evenly. That's a bit better. Board it up. And don't forget I'm putting trailing bedding over here. That's why I want this a bit higher. I got extra, so I'll put some more down. Right, top dressing. Spent coffee grounds and reaming rock dust. When I was down my plot, all my raised beds, got a top dress with spent coffee grounds 3 times a year. You can do it any time of the year, even if there's stuff growing in there. And rock dust is usually the end of the year. But obviously it's a new bed, but it don't matter when you put it on. So it's getting the spent coffee grounds and the reaming rock dust. I'm going to just work that in with a small hand fork, just an inch, just to help in, and then give it a good watering. While I'm at it, everything else gets rock dust as well. That's all the raised beds, all the borders, both sides of the garden. I'm going to put a bit on the astroturf, but
Grown.
all my straws that was fruiting, I've cut them all off. Then we'll go in the compost because I want these for our show. I can remember having strawberries, I forget the name of them, but in my raised bed on my plot, 26 foot long, I had half a bed. There's 2 different strawberries on. But there's a new strawberry came out and they flower twice during fruit twice during the growing season. And the second fruiting was obviously for our show, but these ain't that pain, in other words. I think they're too bloody early, so I'm cutting them off, hoping that they'll fruit again for our show. See how we go.
Is that variety driven, Mick, or just hoping?
I don't know what the variety it was. I can have a nose on me emails and that.
Because I've had in my polytunnel, I've had strawberries where I've harvested. Well, just about to harvest now.
Yeah.
And then I've cut all the runners off, left them in there, kept them watered, and then I get another one in about sort of late August.
Oh, that's it. Oh.
But not as prolific as the first harvest.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Right, my water, but we ain't had rain for a while, since that last lot, meaning these emptying out. Now that's looking in from the top. There's a horde of worms in the bottom. If you remember that photo we put on earlier on Australia, and them balls of worms was in the water, flood water. How the hell are these living in the water? They are alive. Now, I thought I knew me worms. Worms breathe through the skin. I know they have to stay moist.
They're like a swim. They're like a swim occasionally.
But they are tiger as well, as you can see there. So you can see the top of the way to there. So I emptied that. That's in that 3 gallon. So these lot went in my compost bin.
Is your water back fed from the gutters?
Yeah, off the shed.
Maybe the worms put them in the gutters and they've gone from the gutters down into the tank.
As the worm get in the gutter.
Well, no, in the the gutters, on the buildings and that. So the worms have probably put them in there. So they feed, didn't they? They feed out of the gutters. The birds, rather. Sorry, birds feed out of the gutters. Well, they do on ours, on our garage. I always see birds in there.
Gutters on the side of the shed, and I always keep that clear anyway, because I don't want the leaves blocking up the hole to be fed. But
I mean, our water butts come from our double garage.
Yeah.
And that's got like great big square gutters on it. And the birds are always in there because they can literally get right down in it because they're huge. And I reckon there's probably worms in there. I wouldn't be surprised.
My gutters are clean though, or so
I'll say mine are not.
Yeah, you know what you want about them. Yeah. So I shall clean that.
If the birds go in there, don't they? They go in there to feed on little insects and stuff. So if they've gone in there, they could have dropped a worm in. It rains and then the worms get in the water butt.
Right, so I've got to sterilise my way to start from scratch. He is now nice and clean, which is what I want my way to be. So then I got no choice. I've got to fill him up with tap water, which I'm doing there, and then the lid is left off for 48 hours. You can get away with 24 hours. But I know, I think it was about 4 or 5 months ago, the government told all water companies to put more chlorine and all the little chemicals in our tap water to look after the kids' teeth even more than what they were doing before. So I'll leave that now for 48 hours instead of 24. So all the crap that's in there disperses, and then the lid will go back on again.
There's at least 40 different chemicals in ordinary drinking water, Mick.
Yeah. I know it was increased a few months ago. Obviously they're going to tell the public, but there's only about 3 lines in the national papers. So, and if you missed it, obviously, which is what they want people not to see it. But that's why I don't like using tap water. For me or my plants. Right, banana and snip. Let's start racking them up. Nice and clear. I've got 4 bottles and the extra one I put in there. Obviously I tried it first, because if it was crap it'd have gone on the compost heap, but it won't. And in the end, when you get 5 bottles on, these 2 are a bit short. Right, I'll top them up with a drop of water.
Is this sweet, Mick, or dry?
It's a medium.
Medium.
But he ain't bad. Right, tomorrow night we're talking Meavy. This is near Plymouth. Talks here on the plot. I'm dropping in to see my mate John Murphy in Taunton on the way down, having an hour with him. Also stopping on the moor to collect some pony muck, as long as I'm not shot at. There's collecting so much seaweed, I'm always told to put it back. Wait till I clear off, then I'll go and get it. But it might be the same as collecting pony shit, I don't know. You're all going to collect some in your road. Sorry? Anyway, I'm looking forward to the tour and looking forward to meeting up with John. That'll be good. And then this Wednesday, I'm at Newbold, Verdon, which is near Leicester, and talking on composting. For anybody interested or lives local, £3 entry free to non-members. Just message me, email me if you want the details. And this was yesterday at our training sheds. In between serving, did some weighing out, vermiculite and grow more. Last week, Mark weighed out the line for us. We flog. These are the only 3 things that we bag up. That's in 3 litres. That's in 3k. That's in 1k. But everything else is loose. All the fertilisers you buy by the kilo. That's the majority of what people want. So that's why we bag them up in bags like you see. Perlka, I ain't had this for a while. When I first had this, it's high nitrogen feed from Germany. The first lot I had was in orange bags. And I noticed yesterday that when this bag was dropped off, made in Bavaria. But when
you have to mask up with that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mask up and glove up and everything.
It's like most fertilisers are, you don't breathe any of them if you got your brain in gear.
I use that on
What
my
is its other name? It's like calcium something, isn't it?
something cyanide. It seems like cyanide, but it's not.
Yeah, something like that.
I use that on my brassica bed. I do for the club route.
Yeah. This was a high nitrogen feed used by the farmers down south about 20 years ago. And by accident they found out it was good for club root. When they was using this in the field next door, they was growing brassicas, and none of them had club root near to the field where they was using this.
Is that like purple pelleted, Mick? Like a purple pellet?
No, it's really dark. It's black.
The stuff I've got is like a purple colour. I think I got mine from Medwins, I think.
What strength nitrogen's that, Mick? Do you know?
Well, it's high nitrogen. If the farmers was using it as a high nitrogen feed.
It's good for onions as well. A friend of mine used it, tried it on her onions, and she said it was really good.
Yeah.
It's pretty much good for anything.
You've got to be careful with obviously normal veg.
High nitrogen's fine as long as it's early season.
Yeah.
It converts to something when it mixes with water.
I use high nitrogen, but I wouldn't touch it this time of the year.
I've got a leaflet on it in my files, so I'll see if I can dig it out. I've got a leaflet, it's got all the information that comes with it.
So we've got that one back down our shed. So I'm get that 220.
Trouble is with high nitrogen, when you're using brassicas, it's okay early season, but you don't want to do it when they're starting to heart up because you just end up with leaves and no head.
No, you only use it once, Perlka. It only has one feed. Right back down the shed yesterday, there was a load of bees active, as you can see.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a hive, well there's 4 hives just behind the shed here, and at the top of the allotment, just on the top. This is where these lot was from. The queen had legged it from one of the hives. Of course, they all bloody follow her, didn't they? And for some reason, there's a tree down the back here, and that was there last year. They leg it, well, her legs it, and then they all follow her. Because we're en route. We had them yesterday. Would be when the bloody shed was open. And you can see them all there. Of course, that's where they was going. We put a box down to collect them. And as you can see, that's where I'm going in. I think the hole's at the top. So I'm all legged in. There's bloody millions on it. But it was working. He knows what he's doing. And that was the exact place last year as well. I don't know why the scent's still there or it's a right environment. But he knew where to put his box.
I walked through a swarm once at our allotment. and I didn't realise that the bees had swarmed. And I'm sort of looking at all the vegetables down on other people's plots, walking along, and ended up right in the middle of the swarm because they were like low level. And I thought, shit, what am I going to do? And I just sort of legged it to the car. I didn't get stung, but I was literally right through the middle of them.
Yeah.
And they didn't sting me because they don't sting where they're swarming.
Yeah. Just leave them alone.
Yeah, but I was a bit scared at the time. But then afterwards, I spoke to a beekeeper and she said, no, they won't sting you when they're swarming.
Yeah. Right, next week's speakers so far got Colin, Nick, Kathy, and Rowley. Plus Chris and Neil. If you haven't given us an input and all. And obviously, anybody else got anything? Jack, how you got any photos of your plugging your stuff? What you doing it for?
Yeah.
Just
I'll get some stuff
together.
Okay.
I mean, it's just something you do, but it's for charity. I mean, anything like that.
Absolutely.
And excellent, perfect.
Yeah.
Right, see you next week.
Right.
See you.
I'm going to do some
Cheers, Nick.
do some watering. See you next week. Bye.
Cheers, Colin, mate.
Okay.
Cheers,
Cheers.
people. Enjoyed it.
Bye.
See you all next week.
Yeah, bye.
Ta-ra, bit.
Bye now.